Hey, how you doing? I'm Lenny Schmidt.
And I'm Robert Robbins.
And this is Not Your Father's Show. Every Monday, 6 o'clock Pacific, we're here. We're talking about topics, about raising kids during this generation, how different it is when we were younger, and all the things we're going through as parents as compared to when we were kids and younger.
Both single, divorced, and married parents.
Yes, single. We cover all the bases. I'm divorced. He's married. I have teens. He is a teen. We have a lot of teens. There's a lot of teens involved.
There's
here.
teens.
We have daughters. And we talk about all this stuff. Do me a favor, first of all, hit the thumbs up. Do that for me. They can help me, help other parents. Share it with other parents. They can check it out. We're going to talk about all kinds of different subjects. Subscribe to the channel. You can do that. That would help us out. The people at YouTube really care about that stuff. So do that, and we'll get started with today's subject. What are we doing today?
Well, also, I wanted to say this is not a form of therapy or counseling. This is strictly for entertainment
I always forget
purposes.
the legal thing.
But maybe you might pick a few gems. But this is also to let you know that you're not alone. We all go through this. And if there's a topic we haven't covered, feel free to write in, notyourfathershow@gmail.com.
Yeah, and we'll go ahead and we'll talk about it, and we'll even mention your name on the air while we're streaming. Right.
So I have to tell you about my daughter's first week of school.
Okay, sweet. It's that time of year. It's my favorite time of year.
It is that time of year, and especially coming out of the pandemic, everyone's locked down. There's certain things that people are trying to adjust. I know that we had talked about socially what it means for kids with the mores and taboos of learning social interaction with peers and how much it has retarded their own growth. Okay. In that sense, a lot of girls are boy crazy and a lot of boys are girl crazy, and there's certain limits to
the stupid hormones.
It's the hormones. They're coming. The limits that people have as elementary school, the benchmarks they have in junior high, and also the same thing in high school. For example, middle school is 6th, 7th, and 8th. And I'm a fan of junior high because it makes a separation, like right at that age. So in middle school, there's 6th graders around 8th graders, and it's very different. Like if you take a 11, 12-year-old and someone who's like 14, there's a very different mindset. Right. You know, in their 20s, a couple of years, it doesn't mean anything. Same thing with 8th grade versus high school and freshman year, because you have seniors around freshmen as well.
Right. And if you're 14, you think 12-year-olds are stupid.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So you don't want to be around them. You don't want to be near them. So it's a different time.
Yes. So with my daughter, we have a very good communication.
And 12-year-olds are stupid, by the way.
Except when they're arguing, then they think they're the smartest people in the world. And
I don't care what they think. I know they're stupid.
In this sense, we have certain rules. So my daughter came from a relatively sheltered and protective elementary school, and she only had the last few months of the 2021 spring semester. So now she's going into junior high. A lot of summer has been preparing her for what kind of people are out there. You know, and my daughter is, she's gorgeous. I know all fathers say that, but she's taller than her mom, 5'5". She looks like she's 15,
She
16.
is right. This is the situation. It seems everybody goes. Every girl looks older than she is.
They do.
My daughters look much older. I have one that's almost 20, one that's 17. They both look like they're in their mid-20s.
Yeah. And so we all have different ages. We have the age we are, the age we look, and that's another episode. It's actually in my book we'll talk about later. But she looks older. And even though she is mature for her age, she's still 12 and a half.
Right.
Of course, she wants to enjoy certain things of being 12 and a half, but she also wants to feel like she's growing up. So some of the precautions that I had mentioned to her are about other people. Number one, don't give out your phone number. Your phone number is not for other people. Of course, we want you to talk to your friends. When you make your friends, wait a few weeks. You don't know. And this is a school that she doesn't know anyone yet. She's coming into a different school district. New, right? Yeah. But she can make friends. She can walk up to anybody and make friends. That's the kind of person she is.
Yeah, my daughters don't make friends with anyone.
Yeah,
you got to know them really well before they break down.
Yeah.
And they carry tasers.
They so still kind of like side-eye you a little bit, like, are you sure?
Yeah,
you're my
they
dad?
don't even know about me. They got me squared away.
Yeah.
They're like, we're sizing me up all the time. We're not quite sure about this guy. He's around a lot.
Did you change the locks?
He's around a lot, and he pays all the bills, but I don't know.
That's why they keep you around.
Sure about him.
You're actually a really great dad, though. So in this sense, there's a lot of... They're not listening. Not till they're 25. They'll be like, maybe he was not bad.
They'll look back. It wasn't good.
It's usually 25. So in this sense, the rules are don't give out your number. You don't know if it's going to be a friend the first week, and then you guys aren't talking after that. First day, she's really proud of me. She's like, oh, I met these group of girls. We're all friends. Great. She's like, I got a few phone numbers. Awesome. Didn't give out my number. Great. Second day, I pick her up from school and I'm like, how was your day? She was like, it was pretty good. And I love my teachers, except for one is kind of interesting. The principal's amazing. I had met her as well. Principal Krantz. She's fantastic. And then later on when we were home, she's fixing herself a snack and her phone chimes. I'm like, oh, who's that, honey? And she's like, I got a text, and I look at it and it's an unknown number. So all of her numbers of contacts are in. There should be no new numbers. And if there are, our rules are you need to talk to us before you want to give out your number.
The second day she gets her number out. She lasted 2 days.
I was like, now the text read something like, okay, hey, Bleep has a girlfriend. He doesn't even like effing, and it's spelled out like in caps, blondes.
Oh, no.
Stay away from it.
So you get involved in a drama thing already. Oh.
I'm like, oh. Now, I have certain rules when it comes to boys, and being a father of teenage daughters, you must have your
I have
own.
rules as well.
Yeah.
Just
We're not going
one.
to, yeah. What's that one?
It's a none. 0. I'm okay. I don't know. They're worse with me with dating than that I am about them.
Well, Anna especially.
She won't let me date. She's just like, you're never going to date ever again. She keeps telling me you don't need any other girls in your life but Lily and I. And I go, I think I do. I think I do.
So
Anyway.
So we get this text, and I can see the look of like she knows she's in trouble. I said, all right. Despite me, and I'll tell her, I'm like, I'm not happy with you right now.
At least she knows right away, though. It's
She
better
does.
than trying to go, oh, no, that's not what happened. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's better than a whole
Yeah.
misdirection thing.
And you could see the kind of scramble, like, is there a way I can talk myself
I know,
out?
right. They get that little-
They're going down the. If I'm like, Dad, and I'm really cute, and like, have I told you how much I love and
I
appreciate
think of
you?
my mom every time I see that look on their face.
Yeah?
Every time I'm like,
Your mom would do the same?
Well, no, I can't believe that I ever thought I could fool my mom. So when I see them do something, I go, you're not. I know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
And what you're thinking. What? I go,
You're running the same
don't
plays
do
I
that.
did.
You're doing the
Yep.
same thing I did when I was your age.
Yeah.
And my mom looked at me with the same look on. I know exactly what you're doing.
So I could see she's going this, or like, can I kind of plan it? Like, I don't know. And I said, wait. So with my daughter and I, the circle of communication is important. As long as we're talking about it and communicating openly and honest, okay, I'll not be happy, but at least we're putting things on the table and we'll figure it out.
Right.
And I tell her, I don't care what situation you get yourself in. I'll help you. I'll help you figure it out. I might be upset. There might be a slap on the wrist. There might be some punishment. But if you lie, it's going to be 1,000,000 times worse.
Right.
Million. And even the white lies, you can't go down that road. Like, did I forget to turn off the lights? Did you were the last one. That wasn't me. Don't even start that route, because once you breed that mistrust, you will doubt everything.
Right.
So she's like, well, I'm like, wait, let me stop you. If you go down the road of not telling me the truth, it's going to be so much worse. And we have a whole other thing to tackle. So she's like, can I have a moment? I'm like, sure. So she says, Dad, I think you're going to be pretty disappointed in me. I'm like, I think we're there. And she's like, I gave my number out to one person. I said, obviously not this person. She said, no, I gave it out to a boy. I was just really scared you'd be upset. And I said, I'll handle it. But when you're starting to get these texts, because now I'm worried about all my fears. I said, this is why I didn't want you to give out your number. You don't know who this person is. And now I'm worried about a girl that's a bully. Now, I know we had talked about it before. It's that third person. Why is it that girls that have a boyfriend and they're interested in some other girl, they don't talk to the boyfriend. They go after the other girl.
Yeah, right.
And same
They're
thing
the
with
guilty
guys.
party.
Yeah, if a guy has a girlfriend and she's talking to some dude, that guy is like, oh, I'm going to beat the crap out of him. Why not talk to the person that's directly involved and be like, hey, if you're looking someplace else, then obviously let me take myself out of the equation. Happy trails.
Right.
That's the main thing.
But you don't think that way when you're a teenager. You know what I mean?
People don't think of that way as adults.
That's true.
I mean, look at how many years was Springer on? What's the new talk show with?
Maury Povich is the new. That's his, right? That's the new Baby Mama one.
Well, that was one forever. He's been around, what, 3 decades now?
Maury's still, he's still around.
Dude, that
he
guy's
still
amazing.
does that Are You the Father or Not show. He does them all the time.
Yeah, and then what happens? The woman attacks the other woman, or the guy attacks the other guy. Why don't you be like,
you bitch? She just starts screaming.
You know, she gives me this look, and she asked for a second. I said, go ahead. She's like, I gave it to this boy. And it turns out that it's a female, obviously, but we don't know if it's the girlfriend or the friend of the girlfriend, because a lot of girls like to get involved in their girl's business.
Yeah, there's always a stupid friend.
Yeah, it's right. The trickle down. I said, okay, all right.
Trickle down.
It's the trickle down, you know? It's like, I don't have a problem with him, but my 6 friends do, you know?
Oh, great.
Goes through, all the way through the 7 dwarves. In this sense, I said, all right, there's a few things that we have to work on. Number 1, you broke my rules, so there's going to be some punishment off that. I'm glad you are being honest. I'm not happy, but let's figure out how to fix this. Do you understand why it is I do not want you to give out your number? She's like, yes. I said, this is just a snapshot. We don't know who this girl is or how bad it could be.
Right. Sure. How crazy she is. There's a whole bunch of stuff there.
Absolutely. So I said, all right, you're going to have to figure out who this person is. And if you engage in this, like texting back, it's going to be bad. Don't even engage. Let's not do that. All right. So the next day, and I'm really proud of her this, she said she didn't eat her lunch because she was nervous about talking to this boy again, understandably. But her friends were there. They were very supportive. And they're like, oh, there he is. We're here if you need us. So she walked up to this boy and says, hey. And he's like, hey, whatever. And she said, I need to talk to you.
Whatevs, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he said. Whatevs. They don't say whatever. They say whatevs. Hey,
they
whatevs.
say whatever. They
Whatevs.
say whatever. Cray cray. It's cray cray. And she said, you're the only person I gave my number out. Who did you give my number to? And he's like, oh, I gave it out to my girlfriend. Why would you do that? And then he says, it's a setup. He's setup. What do you mean it's a setup? Oh, I think it'd be funny if, And she's like, I don't understand. I thought you were trying to be nice and you wanted to be my friend. You gave me your number. Why would you be giving your number if you have a girlfriend? And I thought you wanted to be friends. And I don't trust that you've given it to someone else. And this is also the conversation we had saying, you understand the responsibility that if you give the number, it's his responsibility to keep it safe. Mm-hmm. It's not like, oh, I lost it or someone else got my phone. Because if you had a Target gift card and you went shopping and you lost the card somewhere in the store, it's not the store's fault. It's not my fault. It's yours. You're responsible for that. Right. I said, you have to understand when you give something to someone, they're responsible for it. And she's like, I understand that. So she said, it's not cool that you gave out my number. And if I knew you had a girlfriend that was going to start texting me, of course I would never have given you my number. And he's like, oh, it was funny. It was a setup. So she's like, what's your friend's name? And he's like, I'm not going to tell you. And she's like, okay, whatever. She's like, honestly, I know who you are and you're a piece of shit and you're a jerk. I'm like, whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, she walked away. Yeah. And
wow.
She walked away.
That's
and she's like, I want nothing to do with you. Don't ever call me.
Dude, good for her, man.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm proud of her.
Yeah.
And I picked her up after school that day and I'm like, how did it go? I want to say this, but I'm like, playing it cool and relax. And she's like, do you want to know about my day? I'm like, yes. Are you kidding? She's like, yes. It was pretty good. And, I saw my teachers and stuff and I'm like, get to the point. So she does. She's like, all right, so this is what happened. And I'm like, I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you that you stood up for yourself. You didn't engage in this like stupid drama. You're not going to get in any fights. Apparently she goes to a different school and, she pulls out her lunch and I'm like, you didn't eat your lunch? She's like, no, I was really nervous. I knew I needed to do this, but I wasn't hungry. I'm like, okay, well, let me take you out. I'm really proud of you. And she's like, can I ask for one more thing? And I'm like, okay. She's like, on Friday, will you pick me up on the motorcycle? I'm like,
yeah, just to show off a little bit. Hey, this is my dad.
Yeah. I mean, I wear the vest and tie, in the office all the time. But outside of that, I drive a truck and a Harley. And so I had her favorite music playing. It was Sabotage by the Beastie Boys. I had the helmet for her and I bypassed all the parents in the line and Everyone was looking at her, and she's
Did
super
you shoot
stoked.
right by the waiting line? There's a pickup line.
Yeah.
You didn't wait in the pickup line?
I don't have to.
Then why?
It's awesome.
No, you can't. That can't be right. I would be so pissed if you just shot ahead of me in the pickup.
It's 100% legal.
Is it really?
Yeah.
They don't care?
No, because I weave in and out, and I'm just right there. She jumps right on, puts the helmet on, and we're out.
That's going to be great.
It's well. The other
Instantly,
thing
every
is,
parent hates
it's
you now.
legal. Then get a bike. Get a bike. It's 100% legal
You're
to
gonna be that
split
guy.
lanes. And
You'll be at the
in
first
California.
PTA meeting. Like, hi, I'm Robert Roberts. Oh, you the guy in the Harley? Oh, yeah. It's great. It's good to see you. How are you? What's up? Nice to meet you.
And don't forget, someone's therapist knows everything about you. So I'm really proud of her, but that's the situation. And then it turned out later on at this school, and this is in the first week of school,
Right.
there was
Yeah.
a fight between two girls.
That's of course. Well, when I was a kid, I remember that there were a lot of fights the first week of school too.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good example though, because especially now the back to school stuff. It's been a year and a half since these kids have socially
Yeah.
interacted with anyone else.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a lot more of those. There's going to be a lot more of
Cyberbullying fights. There's
Sure.
learning how to get along, and it's not just a screen where you can like walk away into the next room or get a snack in the kitchen.
Yeah, and it's
you're right there.
It's a lot. I think it's a lot worse for these kids now because they lost a year and a half of development,
Mm-hmm.
which is what we talked in the previous or another episode. They lost a year and a half of development, so now it's some of them are relearning how to meet people.
Mm-hmm.
Some are learning for the first time, and they're a year and a half behind.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of this, and man, good for your daughter to be able to do that. That's bold. You know what I mean?
It is.
It's very
She's-
mature.
yeah.
To stand up for herself and tell her what.
And it's
tell
a
the guy what
scary
he thought
line
she
because it could have easily ended up with some type of fight or physical altercation.
thought. Right.
You know, so she's staying away from this person. She's not allowing. She's setting up safe, healthy boundaries, and all of her friends were right there to receive her back when she walked away.
Dude, it's incredibly mature for someone someone of that age to set boundaries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
It is.
You know,
Because you want to be liked. You want to be liked, and
yes.
worried about someone not liking you. So you do things that compromise your dignity.
Right. And again, first of all, getting back to coming back from COVID, it's been a year and a half of this whole new thing. Add that to the fact that she's in a new school.
Mm-hmm.
Add that to the fact that her environment has changed so much over the last year and a half. I mean, it's a lot of pressure for someone to go through, for a teen girl, any
Yeah.
teen, but to go through that. That's rough, man.
Yeah, it is.
So man, good for her. That's
Yeah.
good. That's bold.
So if you're in this situation, the best thing you can do is talking to your kids. Number one, setting up a safe environment, as long as you're able to talk. And it also has to do with your reaction. This was one thing, because believe me, I wanted to just scream from the rooftops, like, where is this kid? Of course, where is this kid's parents? Because I want to, lay into them and be like, what kind of kid are you raising? That's my question is that kid's parents, what are they like to allow their son to play a prank on a girl and then give the number out to another girl to harass her?
Right.
What kind of parents are those?
Right.
However, we're going to talk about what's primary and secondary reaction and emotion, which is if your kid misses curfew and they're not responding right away and you're worried, that's concern, worry, then they walk in half hour, 45 minutes late, then you're upset, like, where were you? And it's anger. That's the secondary emotion. In this sense, we have to learn how to react when our kids share things. Otherwise, they're not going to want to share things. If I just started yelling and screaming, my daughter would never share anything with me. But because I listen and I don't overreact, I'm lucky that she can trust me with things.
Okay. Good.
You like to yell.
No, I know. I don't know. I don't like to yell. Communication is very important to me. It's one thing I have with the girls. I talk and I listen to everything. I listen to everything they say.
Yeah.
I've listened to my daughters way more than my parents ever listened to me. My mom never I didn't get along with my mom growing up. And she didn't listen to anything I said and had no interest in my input.
Yeah.
But it's so different now. You got to listen to. But part of the fact that I'm sure your daughter felt she could stand up is that you have that open line of communication, and she listens to you as well. I think if you listen to her, she'll listen to you. I think it's
Exactly.
a big deal. That's like when I grew up, I got tired of hearing "shut up" or "be quiet."
Or we had to walk uphill both ways in the snow.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll still throw that at my daughters. That's
Of
not
course.
crazy.
Yeah,
But,
Chicago.
yeah, right. But I
Lot of
will.
hills.
I'll listen to what they have to say, which I think I think they're more open to listening to what I have to say if I'm listening to what they say.
Right.
Right.
It's really important that, you're going to share some stories, and some of them they may tune out, but it's helping them figure it out, including where they mess up. Like, okay, you messed up because you gave out your number. You shouldn't have done that. And here's an example why.
Right.
It's okay to tell your kids when they mess up and that they're still okay.
Right. And I think the key, especially the first part of that, is you can tell them if they mess up, but it's even more effective if they have a boundary going in. And if they cross that boundary, then you tell them they messed up, and then you hold them accountable for crossing that boundary. It teaches them a structured lesson as opposed to just getting pissed when they do something wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
That's that secondary reaction.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Oh, one more thing. If you go to pick up your kids in a pickup line and you have a motorcycle, wait in line like the rest of the people. Don't be an ass and drive ahead of everyone. And it's just rude. That's another thing I think I got from today's show.
I didn't get that at all.
I got. All right, man.
All right.
All right. Okay, so every Monday, 6 o'clock Pacific, we're going to be here. Please, again, like the video if you can. Share it. Subscribe to it. And feel free to contact us at notyourfathershow@gmail.com with any questions, comments, or criticisms. Also, we have a Facebook page, which we haven't mentioned, Not Your Father's Show.
And Instagram.
And Instagram. You can hit us on all those platforms. Someone's paying attention somewhere. So reach out to us. And we'll see you next time. Thanks. I'm Lenny Schmidt.
I'm Robert Robbins.
See ya.